graders, welcome to Big Ideas Math, Section 9.1, Introduction to Statistics Lesson. Pause while you write Section 9.1 lesson in your math notebook. Pause again while you write today's lesson objective in your math notebook. Today's objective is plot the responses to statistical questions. Today we'll be starting on page 392 in your math textbook. Example 1, answering a statistical question. You conduct a science experiment on house mice. Your teacher asks you, what is the weight of a mouse? Is this a statistical question? Explain. Because you can anticipate that the weights of mice will vary, it is a statistical question. Letter B. You weigh some mice and record the weights in grams in the table. So here's the table off to your left. Display the data in the dot plot. Identify any clusters, peaks, or gaps in the data. Draw a number line that includes the least value, 18, and the greatest value, 28. Then place a dot above the number line for each data value. So we've practiced this to some extent in class, and it's very much like what you did in 5th grade with line plots. It's just we use dots instead. So for each data point, you put a dot above the number line. So for every mouse that you weighed that weighed 18 grams, you have a dot, and there were three mice that weighed 19 grams and 6 mice that weighed 20 grams, and so on. And then there's a big gap in the number line right here where there's no data at all. So there were no mice that weighed 24, 25, or 26, and then there's a few mice down here at this end. And it says most of the data are clustered around 20 grams. There is a peak at 20 and a gap between 23 and 27. And letter C says use the distribution of the data to answer the question. And so the question up at the top, remember, was what is the weight of a mouse? So most mice that you experimented with at least weigh about 20 grams. Let's look at our study tip. It says dot plots are sometimes called line plots. So that's what you did in 5th grade. It is easy to see clusters, peaks, and gaps in a dot plot. So this is not really anything new. It just has a different name. Moving on to example 2, using a dot plot. You record the high temperature every day while at summer camp in August. Then you create the vertical dot plot. So this is just a number line turned on its side. Letter A says, how many weeks were you at summer camp? And so you would count the number of dots on your dot plot, and it says because there are 28 data values on the dot plot, you were at camp 28 days. And we know that there are 7 days in a week, so this is a very complicated way of going about 28 days divided by 7 days equals 4 weeks. So you were at summer camp for 4 weeks. Letter B says, how can you collect these data? What are the units? You can collect these data with a thermometer. So if you want to check the temperature, you use a thermometer. The units are degrees Fahrenheit. And that's really important that you recognize that not all degrees are the same. We have degrees in a circle, and then there are also different kinds of temperature degrees. There's degrees Celsius and degrees Fahrenheit are the two most common. Write a statistical question that you can answer using the dot plot. Then answer the question. One possible statistical question is, what is the daily high temperature in August? So the high temperatures are spread out with about half of the temperatures around 81 degrees Fahrenheit and half of the temperatures around 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So these are fairly well spread out is what they're saying. And we have a lot, or about half, right around here, around the 81, and the other half right around here. So if you turn your book or the picture sideways, you can see that it kind of looks, there are two peaks. So there's a peak right here at 86 and a peak right there at 81 degrees. Your assignment for this lesson is to complete the On Your Own problems 1 and 2 below. They are also on pages 392 to 393 of your textbook. Be prepared to share during our next class. Please remember, to earn credit for viewing this flipped lesson, you must complete your exit slip, come to our next class prepared with the journal pages or other work from the flipped lesson completed, and be prepared with any work that was assigned in the flipped lesson completed. Be prepared with any questions you have for the teacher, and always have a good attitude. We'll see you next time in class.